Welcome everyone. Today we tell the story of Amelia Earhart, a woman who looked up at the sky and decided it belonged to her too. Her life was a journey of courage, doubt, sacrifice, and extraordinary achievement. On July 24, 1897, in the small town of Atchison, Kansas, a girl was born who would one day fly alone across the Atlantic Ocean. Her name was Amelia Mary Earhart. Amelia grew up in a time when the world had very clear rules about what girls could and could not do. Girls were expected to be quiet, polite, and stay close to home. Amelia was none of those things. As a child, she was adventurous and curious. She climbed trees, hunted rats with a rifle, and kept a scrapbook of newspaper stories about women who had successful careers. She was watching. She was learning. She was planning. Her childhood was not always easy. Her father, Edwin Earhart, struggled with alcohol, and the family moved many times. There was often financial stress and uncertainty at home. Amelia learned early that life does not always give you a smooth road. But her grandmother and mother encouraged her to read, to think, and to dream. And Amelia dreamed very big. In December 1917, during World War I, Amelia visited her sister in Toronto, Canada. There she saw wounded soldiers returning from the front lines. Moved deeply by what she saw, she decided to train as a nurse's aide with the Red Cross. She worked long hours in a military hospital, caring for sick and injured men. It was hard, emotional work, but it showed her strength of character. It was also in Toronto that Amelia first saw an airplane fly. She stood at an airfield and watched a small aircraft move through the sky. Something inside her changed in that moment. She later wrote, "As soon as we left the ground, I knew I myself had to fly." She was not yet a pilot. But she had found her direction. In 1920, Amelia attended an air show in Long Beach, California, with her father. A pilot offered to take her up for a 10-minute flight. Those 10 minutes cost $1. And those 10 minutes changed everything. From that day, Amelia was completely focused on one goal: she wanted to learn to fly. But flying lessons were expensive, and she was a young woman with very little money. She took on multiple jobs to pay for her lessons. She worked as a truck driver, a photographer, and a stenographer, someone who writes down words quickly in a special short form. She saved every dollar she could. Her flight instructor was a woman named Anita Snook, one of the first female commercial pilots in America. This was important to Amelia. She saw that a woman could do this. And she believed she could too. On December 15, 1921, Amelia Earhart received her pilot's license. She was one of only a small number of women in the world to hold this certificate. She was 24 years old. But having a license was only the beginning. The aviation world in the 1920s was almost entirely male. Men controlled the airfields, the competitions, and the money. Women who wanted to fly were often laughed at, ignored, or simply told to go home. Amelia faced this resistance every single day. She was told she was not strong enough. She was told flying was too dangerous for women. She was told no one would take her seriously. She kept flying anyway. In 1928, a phone call changed her life. A woman named Amy Guest wanted to sponsor the first transatlantic flight with a woman on board. She was looking for the right person, someone brave, educated, and capable of representing women well in the public eye. Amelia was chosen. On June 17, 1928, she flew from Newfoundland, Canada, to Wales in the United Kingdom. The flight took nearly 21 hours. However, Amelia was honest about something that many people did not expect. She had not actually piloted the plane. Two male pilots, Wilmer Stultz and Lewis Gordon, had done most of the flying. Amelia had been a passenger. She said publicly, "I was just baggage. Like a sack of potatoes." She was not comfortable accepting praise she felt she had not fully earned. This honesty made people respect her more. But it also made her more determined. She wanted to do it herself. Completely. Alone. After the 1928 flight, Amelia became famous. She wrote a book, gave lectures, and became a symbol of what women could achieve. She also met a man named George Putnam, a publisher who helped manage her career. They married in 1931. But fame was not enough for Amelia. She wanted to prove something real, not just to the world, but to herself. On May 20, 1932, exactly 5 years after Charles Lindbergh's famous solo flight across the Atlantic, Amelia Earhart climbed into a small red Lockheed Vega airplane in Harbor Grace, Newfoundland. She was alone. She carried a thermos of soup and a can of tomato juice. The flight was terrifying. Ice formed on the wings. The altimeter, the instrument that tells you how high you are, broke. Flames appeared near the engine. Amelia flew through storms and fog for nearly 15 hours. She landed in a farmer's field in Culmore, Northern Ireland. A farmer walked up to her plane, surprised. She told him she had just flown from America. Amelia Earhart had become the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean. The world celebrated. She received the Distinguished Flying Cross from the United States government, the first woman ever to receive this honor. France gave her the Cross of Knight of the Legion of Honor. She was invited to meet presidents and kings. But here is what almost no one talks about. Behind the smiling photographs and the public celebrations, Amelia was carrying a heavy weight. She was deeply aware that every flight could be her last. She had seen other pilots die. She knew the risks better than anyone. She also struggled with the pressure of being a symbol. People expected her to be perfect, to be fearless, to represent all women everywhere. That is an enormous responsibility for one person to carry. In her private letters, she wrote about loneliness, about exhaustion, and about the fear that she might not be good enough. She was human. She had doubts. She just refused to let those doubts stop her. She once wrote, "The most difficult thing is the decision to act. The rest is merely tenacity." Those words reveal something important about who she really was. Amelia did not succeed because she was never afraid. She succeeded because she acted even when she was afraid. In the years after 1932, Amelia continued to break records. In 1935, she became the first person, man or woman, to fly solo from Hawaii to California. This was considered one of the most dangerous flights in the world at that time. Many pilots had tried it. Several had died. She also worked hard to open doors for other women. She helped found an organization called the 99s, a group of female pilots who supported each other and fought for equal opportunities in aviation. She believed that women needed to help each other, not just compete. She said, "Women must try to do things as men have tried. When they fail, their failure must be but a challenge to others. This was her philosophy. Failure is not the end. Failure is an invitation to try again, or to inspire someone else to try. By 1937, Amelia had one final dream: to fly around the entire world along the equator, the longest possible route. No one had ever done it. She planned the flight carefully with her navigator, Fred Noonan. They began in Oakland, California, on May 20, 1937. The journey took them across the United States, South America, Africa, Asia, and Australia. By early July, they had flown more than 35,000 kilometers. They were almost finished. Only the Pacific Ocean remained. On July 2, 1937, Amelia and Fred Noonan took off from New Guinea, heading for a tiny island called Howland Island in the middle of the Pacific. It was a small target in a very large ocean. They never arrived. Radio contact was lost. A massive search by the United States Navy found nothing. Amelia Earhart and Fred Noonan had disappeared. She was 39 years old. The world was shocked. Theories about what happened have continued for decades. Some people believe the plane ran out of fuel and crashed into the ocean. Others have suggested different explanations. But the truth has never been confirmed. What we do know is this: Amelia Earhart disappeared while attempting something that had never been done before. She was pushing the limits of what was possible. She was still flying higher. Her disappearance became one of the greatest mysteries of the 20th century. But her legacy is not a mystery at all. Amelia Earhart showed the world that courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to move forward despite fear. She showed that the rules society makes about who can do what are often just habits, and habits can be broken. She opened the sky for women. Before Amelia, most people simply did not believe that women could be serious pilots. After Amelia, that belief was impossible to hold. She had made it real. She also showed something important about how we should handle failure and difficulty. She did not have a perfect life. Her childhood was unstable. Her first big flight was as a passenger, not a pilot. She faced rejection and doubt at every stage. But she kept going. She kept learning. She kept flying. So what can we learn from Amelia Earhart's journey? First, act despite your fear. Amelia was not fearless. She was brave, and those are very different things. Fearless means you feel no fear. Brave means you feel the fear and move forward anyway. Second, be honest about your limitations, and then work to overcome them. When Amelia said she was just baggage on her first Atlantic crossing, she was being honest. And that honesty pushed her to earn her achievement properly the next time. Third, use your success to help others. Amelia did not just fly for herself. She used her fame and her voice to open doors for other women. She understood that individual success means more when it creates opportunities for others. And finally, do not let other people's ideas about what is possible define what you attempt. In 1920, almost no one believed a woman could fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean. Amelia did not ask for permission to believe differently. She simply believed it, and then she proved it. Amelia Earhart's story is not just about airplanes. It is about the human spirit, the part of us that looks at the horizon and wonders what is beyond it. The part that refuses to accept that the sky is a limit. She once said, "The most effective way to do it, is to do it." Simple words. Powerful truth. The next time you face something that feels impossible, something that others say you cannot do, something that frightens you, something that seems too big or too far away, remember a young woman from Kansas who looked up at the sky and decided it was hers. And then she flew.